For more, let's speak with Aaron Lipkin. He is the community spokesman for the settlement of Ofra. That's where he talks to us from. Now, first, I want to get your response to this decision by the High Court of Justice today, striking down this law, which would have made possible for Israel to appropriate private Palestinian land to expand settlements such as your community of Ofra.
Yes. Again, this is another decision by the Israeli High Court that goes against the Jewish settlements in Judea and Samaria. And, it's not surprising. However, I do want to say that this decision really fits the situation that we are currently in, the situation where there is no Israeli sovereignty over the Jewish villages, the Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria. If Israel will apply its sovereignty in July, as Benjamin Netanyahu promises, then that law is no longer relevant, and Israel will apply the Israeli law, and then it's a different ballgame.
Right. I want to move on to that meeting today with Benny Gantz and settlement leaders. And there was a quote we've heard that Benny Gantz used in the meeting. Excuse me one second. There was a quote that Benny Gantz used in the meeting. He said he once heard from an old Mapainik that you should take what's being offered you. In other words, Israeli governments used to accept any offer they got from the international community to establish a state. How do you think that message went out for the settlement leaders?
Well, Ofra, the community that we live in, was the first community in Samaria after the Six-Day War that was established. And it was established by the Labor Party and no other than Shimon Peres, the Minister of Defense at that time. That's something that surprises people. The Labor Party was one of the biggest supporters of the Jewish communities in the beginning. But I think the question is, what about the two-state solution? I mean, the deal of the century is a step in the right direction. Because for the past 30 years, Jews and Arabs suffered greatly from the Oslo agreements and the two-state solution idea. The PA has brought nothing but terror, corruption, and poverty for Arabs and Jews in Judea and Samaria. So we don't understand why the two-state solution is still an option. And it is an option in the deal of the century. It just doesn't work. For 30 years, we've suffered from it, both Arabs and Jews. It's time to move on to another solution.
Well, since you mentioned the Trump peace plan, which does call for negotiation toward a Palestinian state, I want to just look at a statement that was released by the Samaria Regional Council Chairman Yossi Dagan. Of course, you know, he issued this statement saying, President Trump is a true and exceptional friend of Israel. And because of this, he needs to understand Israel's interests. Yes to sovereignty, and definitely no to uprooting thousands of settlements and establishing a terrorist state in the heart of Israel. Well, let me ask you, it doesn't look like the Trump administration and your communities there are on the same page.
Well, I want to explain what Yossi Dagan means. The Trump plan basically creates a situation where there are Israeli enclaves of sovereignty inside the Arab area. It blocks major roads in Judea and Samaria for Jewish commute, just for Jewish commute. And so this basically is going to suffocate the enclaves that we're talking about. So when Yossi Dagan talks about uprooting, it means basically that this is going to be an ongoing process because of the new situation that is going to be here after the Trump plan. I do have to say, though, that I don't understand exactly how the Arab side is going to agree to this plan. I'm not talking just about applying sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. The fact that Jerusalem is already acknowledged as the capital of Israel, the fact that the American embassy is in Jerusalem, the fact that the Trump plan calls for actually an autonomy and not a real state with an army, etc. This is something that I don't really see the Arabs, right, the Palestinian Authority agreeing to. So, we talked about a month ago, and I told you that we won't believe it until we see it, and we don't know exactly all the details. I'm a resident of Samaria, and I don't have any information.
We'll have to wrap it up here. We'll have to wrap it up here. Aaron Lipkin, spokesperson for OFRA, thank you for joining us. And lots more to come on The Rundown. Stay with us.